Anyway, I've spoken often that I feel that Kenny Veach fell while coming down. Kenny Veach's own words say it, that he said, I spent the night up there, barely made it back down, and I came down to cliffs and barely made it back down. That shows he came down a different route than he went up, which is likely from the saddle up. But he came down, well, there's a shortcut. Let me go down and do it. I'm going to go down there and there's a cliff. I'm going to work my way down. Now, this is a very important principle because when you do that, and you're at the moment of truth, that you look and you go, if I don't do this, I have to go all the way back up and work over. And that is when people take chances, and believe me, I've done it. So now let's look at Google Earth, where I believe Kenny Veach could have fallen. Now, first of all, the disclaimer is, if he went up there to commit suicide and, and went off over into here, I'm not going to be found. Well, I have nothing to do with that. If he went up there and was killed by someone, I have nothing to do with that. I only look at it like that I do believe based on his own words, that I went up there, I barely made it back down, I had to be rescued. I came to cliffs and so on and so forth. So I go by those words quite heavily. And so that leans towards the fall coming down. You don't fall going up. It can be done. But it generally doesn't happen. You fall coming down. You're climbing down, you can't see your feet. You start to freak out. You go, well, maybe I should just jump. You jump, you break your goddamn ankle. Okay, so therefore we have this area where he was, and I keep saying it over and over. Well, if he was up here, and he had a secret brain aneurysm that exploded, well, he'll never be found. I don't know if that happened or not. Okay, so let's get back to where he fell. The most interesting points are what a hiker, if you go up there as a hiker, where you go, that's where everyone goes, is points of interest. And after all, the cell phone was found there. There's no denying that. Chuck Vlogg's Karen is right in here. There's no denying that. That could have been put there by Chuck Vlogs. Kenny Veach. Okay, so we have these areas of intense interest that if the Cairn was there, when he came down, I spent the night up there, and it wasn't up here, it was one of these, but I spent the night up there, barely made it back down, this, that, the other thing. Well, you have these huge areas of interest, that if here, like right here, I haven't been there. But if you're coming down there and you go, well, that's about 10 feet. If I don't make it, I have to go back up. Well, I don't know what's in there. But I will tell you this. If you fall 5 feet, you're going to bash your brains out and break ribs. This is exactly what's going to happen. And it is not falling on moss and mud. No, you are falling right on broken, razor-sharp limestone. And so I still lean towards a fall while descending. And I view this as a top area. Otherwise, what have you got? You're going to go out into the desert, and he had a stroke and fell over in the middle of nowhere. You can't do that. If that happened, he will never be found. I still lean strongly that these critical areas, which would involve someone going up and then coming down upon these areas, have not been searched. The cell phone was found there. Nothing is going to change that. Nothing is going to change that. So therefore, this is a critical area, and nothing's going to change it. Nothing is going to change it. Now, the go north theory, I'm going to go north for miles and miles. I'm going to go off into the middle of nowhere. Well, he could have done that. He could have done that. After all, it was almost the middle of winter. The snow, see the snow? That snow would have been there just like that. If he went up here, he'd be freezing his nuts off. He wouldn't have done that. I say he was down low and maybe mess around here, mess around here. Now, what's he going to do? Mess around over here? No, he's not going to go over into this lesser range. Now, could he have went up? It kept going to the north, to the camelback, what J. Chuck calls camelback, where you reach up here and now you drop down going north. Well, it's not impossible he could have done that. I don't know. If I knew, I would go there and find the guy and bring him back. Cell phone was found here. They're flat out. There is no way around it. There's no way around it. It makes this area a critical area, a very critical area, especially with what we know about dropping down from Wild Horse Saddle down what I call, well, hill. Okay, Kenny Veach, he could have done it, but he wasn't going looking for no mcave. He could have done it, but when you're up here at Wild Horse Saddle, it's a big decision to go down Hill, which is right here. Okay, Kenny Veach likely would have been fucking around right in this area, and I consider that absolute prime search area.